transitions through divorce, body dysmorphia in your early teens into your 20s, and menopause. Coming up next on Love My Body, Love Myself. So stay tuned. Welcome to this episode of Love My Body, Love Myself. I am your host, Alicia Couri, and on today's show, we're going to talk about all of that. In just that short period of time, I have an amazing guest coming up, so stick around. Grab a girlfriend, like I say, grab a cup of coffee, grab a glass of wine if that's what you want, and share this out with someone, because we're talking transition through divorce, through teenager into menopause. We're going to run the gamut on this show. So before I get into my guest, I do want to welcome those of you who are joining us. We are streaming live on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Twitch. So thank you so much for joining us today here on Love My Body, Love Myself. If you are or have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's right below. Go to our YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/c/Alicia Couri and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so that you don't miss when we go live or when we post new content. We've got a lot of content there for you, from these shows, Love My Body, Love Myself, to Small Business Saturday Shout Out. If you want to know about small businesses, or if you have a small business, that's a great show. And I have a lot of other tips and tools and techniques and things that you can learn about life in general. How do we really live this life successfully? So go over to our YouTube channel and subscribe. The Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. Alicia Couri Inc. is a boutique consulting firm that specializes in the development of audaciously proactive leaders and teams using brain science and people data to get the results. So for more information, visit our website at aliciacouri.com. If anything that we talk about today resonates with you, please leave a comment. Leave a comment below, so that we can interact with you, and that we can also respond to your comment. So please leave us a comment below. And I want to also share with you that we really want to impact women. So if you can go to our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/groups/LMBLM, and join our Facebook group and share it out so other women can join, because it's really important that we support one another, and that we find places that we can express what it is we need to express. So that is a safe place that we can express things. And you can be a guest on the show. The show airs on this channel every week on Wednesdays. Also, I want to get to our guest. But if you would like to be a guest on the show or support in any way, please email us. Email us at support@aliciacouri.com if you would like to be a guest on the show. I want to just let you know that this episode has been pre-recorded for your enjoyment today. And so while you can leave a comment, we'll put the comments up. We are live behind the scenes. You can go ahead and leave comments. We'll also go back into the comments. So if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can leave a comment. If you're on YouTube, you can leave a comment, because we do go back and respond to your comments. So you can leave a comment. We'll put it up live, and we'll also respond to your comments. But this episode was previously recorded for you to air today. Now, I want to go right into introducing my next guest, the wonderful Jaclyn Perez, or Jack, the founder of Cool Life. And she is going to share with us her story and some of the things that she has been through, and really give us an idea of what cool life is on this episode of Love My Body, Love Myself. So welcome to the show, Jack.
Oh my gosh. Thank you, Alicia. It is an honor to be here. I'm so excited.
I know. And we met through a mutual friend of ours, actually on Instagram. So I love to make connections with people on social media. It is one of the best places, the coolest places to connect, because then we can only touch so many people in our own community, but then social media has given us so much more access. So glad to be in contact with you.
Right back at you, sister. Yeah.
So when we met, we were talking about transitions. Deborah and I on our Instagram live, and we were talking about transitions. And one of the things that really connected us is we were talking about divorce and going through that as women. Now, I read when you signed up for the show that you had also your issues with body dysmorphia. So I want to be able to touch on that too. But as a woman going through divorce, going through that transition, how did that affect your self-worth, the love for yourself, how you felt about yourself?
Well, my situation was a little complicated in that, I ended up in another significant relationship very quickly after leaving my marriage,
Mhm.
and that was such a bad idea. Such a bad idea.
No.
Hindsight's 2020, but yeah, so I didn't so immediately it didn't really affect me because I put something in my path that was very distracting.
Mm.
But of course, I set myself up for failure because there's, I mean, maybe some people would be ready immediately after the demise of probably the most significant relationship in my life at that time.
Right.
But I certainly wasn't ready to take on, anybody else. And
Else's emotional stuff too.
well, because but it was a great way to bury my emotional stuff and pretend it wasn't there.
Yeah.
Sadly, though, that stuff doesn't go away. It just sits there and waits patiently for you to come back around and visit it because it's
Yeah.
still there, right? It's still there.
Yeah.
So I had a rough time, and it was a little delayed
Hmm.
because of the distraction. But when it all sort of came crashing down, Alicia, I remember being at the doctor for a physical, and
Hmm.
she was giving me all sorts of thumbs up. My cholesterol was awesome. All of it. I was in really great shape. And then she looked at me and she's like, "And so how's the rest of your life?" And I kid you not, I couldn't answer her. I went to answer her and I just burst into tears.
Oh.
Yeah.
How long was that
So
relationship after your divorce, though? Was it I know you said it was a pretty significant relationship, but was it a long relationship or was it like intense for a short time?
it was intense for a short period of time, right?
Mm.
Those rose colored glasses were like super glued to my face for a period of time. Someone had to come and pry them off of my face, right? No, don't look at that. He's a narcissist. Don't get those glasses off your face. Yeah, right. So,
Oh, yeah. And
yeah. So it was funny because she, as doctors are wont to do, she went to write me a script for Wellbutrin. And I was just like, nope, I'm not taking medication. I
mm,
can fix this. And then she looked at me and she said, "It will make you a better mother." I had a 3-year-old at the time. And I looked at her and I said, "Did you just play the better mother card? Like you
mm,
literally just pulled out the better mother card." So I took it. I took it for about 6 months and
mhm,
it did the trick. I mean, it served me well. I didn't like myself on it because I'm a person who likes to feel things intensely, whether it's good or bad.
mhm.
And the nature of this drug is sort of to take the edge off of everything, which is good, right? Because it allowed me to get myself back on track without
Right.
falling into the pits of despair that I was, wallowing in for what seemed like months on end. So it did the trick. But then
Yeah.
I weaned myself off when I figured, enough time has gone by. I have my act together. I'm getting off of this. So,
Right.
but yeah. And I was a better mother. She was right.
Well, that's good because two things that you said there is the resistance to taking it. There are people who would be very resistant to taking it and say, well, no, I'm not going to do that. And then, she did play the mother card on you, and, and it worked. And
it totally worked. It totally worked. Although I have a funny little anecdote. So I'm reading the warnings, and I'm walking out of the office, and it says, do not drink alcohol. Mm-hmm. I did a U-turn, and I went right back, knocked on her door, and I opened it. It says, I can't drink alcohol in this. She goes, that's a CYA. I said, okay, good, because I'm not taking it. Can't drink alcohol.
You need a little wine to take the edge off too.
I like wine, especially with food, right? And I just wasn't interested in.
You weren't ready to give that up, right? You weren't ready to give that up, and that's understandable. I'm not a drinker myself, but I have no problem with people drinking their occasional wine or enjoying their wine. It's it's all about what you feel fulfilled with in your life. As long as you're not doing it to excess and you're not doing it to escape, there's absolutely nothing wrong with enjoying it. So after this, you weaned yourself off and everything like that, what steps did you take to really start rebuilding your life so that you found self-love and you were taking care of yourself?
That's a great question. I will have to tell you, there is one thing that is so obvious to me that saved me in so many ways and redirected me in a positive way. And that was, I started a martial arts career. I started taking Taekwondo.
Wow.
Yes. And and how that came about was kind of bizarre too. I was at my son's 3rd birthday party, and it wasn't going well. And my very good friend said, hey, I just started taking Taekwondo. You should come with me. And I'm like, I can't do one more thing. I'm drowning right now. I can barely keep my head above water. And she looked right at me, Alicia, and deadpan said, you get to kick and punch things. And I said, I will be right there.
I will be there.
I will be right there. Yeah.
So is that like taking your power back? Like, I can release this and feel like I'm in control again. Feel like
yeah, that was part of it, but it was also learning. It's like learning a completely new language, right? I mean, all of the skills that are involved in martial arts are things that I had never done before. So it was hard. I mean, they use Korean in the class, so you have to learn, at least some basic Korean. And then what I was asking my body to do, I had never asked of it before. And so focusing on that, and also it just made you really tired. I was tired. I would work out to the point of exhaustion. So it would help with the endorphins. It helped with the dopamine. It helped clear my brain. It helped me with my sleep. It also brought me an entire new family of friends, right? Because now all of a sudden I was involved in an activity where I had never known anyone before. And now I was just introduced to all these new interesting people that all had the same, while all from different walks of life professionally, but self-selected martial artists. And that's a kind of personality, right? That you tend to be a certain kind of persona if you're going to go sign up to potentially, well, no, you will get hurt. I was hurt a lot over that 10-year period.
We're not even going to pretend that that's not going to happen.
No. You will. I had broken fingers, cracked ribs, contusions to my liver. Yes. I mean, you can't do a sport that you're fighting in and not expect to
not get bruised
banged up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Intense. But, again, you had community, you had an outlet, you were learning something, so you were in growth, so you were really looking forward in your life instead of wallowing in the past. It was something that was taking you moving forward, and that's awesome.
It took me a little bit to get there. It's not like
You
you
didn't wake
know,
up one day and it was like, oh yeah, woo.
yeah,
No.
no, not at all. Not at all. This was all process, right? You have to
Hmm.
process your grief. You have to process. Yeah, but I'll have to say that going into an activity that was so challenging to me, that required so much of my energy and focus, helped me not wallow in what was broken or not fixable. It helped me focus on what was possible. Does that make
Yeah,
sense? Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about Jack. And we have something cool coming up. So we're going to talk about that. So stick around. The Love My Body, Love Myself show is sponsored by Alicia Couri Inc. and produced by Red Carpet CEO. Alicia Couri Inc. specializes in developing audaciously proactive leaders and teams using brain science and people data to get results. Visit our website, aliciacouri.com, for more information. The show is produced by Red Carpet CEO. If you'd like a copy of Age with Audacious Confidence, visit our link tree at linktr.ee/acouri. Let's get back to the show. Welcome back to Love My Body, Love Myself. I'm your host, Alicia Couri, and today's guest, Jaclyn Perez, we're talking to, and we're going to jump into a couple different topics in this part of the interview that I really want to share. If you missed the first part, go back, watch the replay. It was so, she gave some super, super helpful tips on dealing with transition and how she was able to process and go through after her divorce. And so go back and watch that. But Jack, I want to go back a little bit because, this is Love My Body, Love Myself. And you did have some challenges with your own body image. And you said dysmorphia. So explain what that is for some people and how did that really present itself for you?
Wow. Yeah. Well, I mean, does anyone not have body
I
image
know.
issues?
I
It,
think we all do
at
after a
some
certain age.
level, I mean, at
Yeah.
some level, right? I mean, I don't think you get, I think it's part of the human condition, honestly. But
Mhm.
so what happened was I was, I'm going to say this, but I'm actually like, it's really hard for me to say, which is really interesting. But I was a chubby kid when I was
Mhm.
little. And I grew up in a time where skinny was the thing, right? It was a time where like the models that people were looking at by the name Twiggy, if that doesn't tell you like
Mhm.
how skinny people were,
Right.
right? And I also developed really early. So I got breasts by sixth grade. By sixth grade, I kind of looked like this,
Yeah.
right? Um, Little girls should not be given women bodies. They really shouldn't. Society does not. I mean, because I was put in situations and I had to deal with situations that I was not
Ill prepared.
emotionally or mentally prepared for, because I
Mhm.
was a pretty sheltered child. On top of that, my parents came from Cuba in the early 60s. And so culturally, I came from a very conservative Latin American upbringing where, the boys were encouraged to, be boys, and the girls were locked up in the closet so that they wouldn't get involved with the boys while they were being encouraged to be boys, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So I grew up very protected and very sheltered. But, and if you really looked at my face, you would know I was a little kid. But and I could show you a picture of me, as a sixth grader. And if from the neck down, it was wrong. It was all
Mm.
sorts of wrong. And it was really hard because boys my age didn't know what to do with me, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
looked weird. Girls were not nice. And
They were jealous.
I
They wanted to have what you had, and yeah.
but why? Like, you don't want this at this age. You know, I was jealous of them with no bra, you know, playing kickball,
Yep.
whatever. Whereas I just already had breasts I had to take care of. And, you know, I already had hip. I mean, it was just, yeah, it was, and then grown men who didn't
Work.
bother to look at my face
Mm-hmm.
would be like hitting on me where I felt like in over my
Uncomfortable.
head. Yeah,
Right.
very
Really uncomfortable.
uncomfortable. I'm very uncomfortable. And so that made for an interesting upbringing, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because, you know, finally in my early 20s, I became comfortable with my sexual power and knew what to do with it. But
Mm-hmm.
at 11, you know,
Yeah.
I had no sexual power. I had this carcass, you know, this
Yeah.
outside being that was misleading.
That was
Um,
attracting the wrong intention. And
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. You know, and it wasn't me. I wasn't doing anything. It literally was just the way I looked.
Yeah.
And so that really wreaked havoc. That's a hard thing to reconcile later in
Mm-hmm.
life. So
And I can definitely relate to that, being, you know, voluptuous and not really understanding what to do with all of that, and men being attracted to you, but you don't know what to do with that either, because it's like, I'm, you know, 13 years old and you're 20. I'm
right.
I'm a child, but while I want to be grown, I'm still a child. You know,
Right.
I'm still in, well, over here it would be middle school, but you know, I'm still in school. So I get it. So how were you able to really start reconciling that? Were you anorexic at any time, or were you just
No,
like
I didn't do
dedicated to?
yeah, I didn't do the anorexia thing. I mean, I don't really, it turns out like I don't really have that big of a relationship with food. I mean, I
Mhm.
eat, but food doesn't really have any meaning to me.
Control to you? Oh yeah.
No, it just, you know, I eat, but and don't get me wrong, Alicia, I love a good meal with company and, you know, 2 or 3 hours at the dinner table with the cheese
Right.
plate. I can enjoy all of that, but food doesn't
But it's
carry
not a
any.
control, right? It's not a control issue, because a
No.
lot of time anorexia is, and bulimia, it's a control issue. You want to
Right.
control something that
Yes.
because you feel out of control, because you feel your body's out of control, and you want to be able to control something in that situation. And
Yeah,
so, go ahead.
sorry. No, for me, I think it was just a natural progression of aging and maturity
Hmm.
where it slowly I started to get data that made sense to me, that was more appropriate, and starting to
Hmm.
get the reactions that I wanted and then knew what to do with them. And so I think it was just I finally grew into myself.
Right.
I
That
I think it's just I finally grew into myself. No,
That's awesome. And now you're in a position that you really do love yourself.
I
Um,
do.
and I love that. But in the short time we have, because I know you've got another appointment you got to get to, tell me about Cool Life. How did that come about? What is it? How can women participate in it? So tell us about Cool Life.
Yeah, real quickly, Cool Life. So, you know, yet another transition, right? And every other human being goes through this. I don't understand why there's not enough information out there. Every other human being goes through this transition called menopause.
Oh.
Yeah, right? And it's normal, ladies and gentlemen. It's normal and should not be feared. But it could be troublesome. I mean, it was really hard for me. I went through a very tough transition. And when I went to go find information, I couldn't find anything that was empowering or helpful. I then decided that that just wasn't acceptable, and out of sheer frustration and personal need, I went and built this digital platform where we house highly curated content on the topics that are women in midlife and beyond are our best opportunities and our challenges, because this season of life is amazing and it has so many opportunities, but there are challenges, right? We're dealing with physiological changes, we're dealing with home environment changes if our children are leaving the nest, if we had them, right?
Mhm.
Or if you didn't have them, you know, women have to come to terms with that, right? Whether they're okay with it or whether they're not,
Right.
they have to come to terms with
Come
that.
to terms with that. My
Yeah, and when
time
you
is up.
lose, right, and when your time is up, when your biological imperative is no longer available to you, you know, some women have a hard time going through that transition. And I wanted to, you know, taking care of elderly parents, right? I mean, there's
Mhm.
so
There's
many
so
things.
many different, yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring together a place where women could get informed and women could share their experiences and their expertise with one another, and so we can learn from one another
Mhm.
and better understand that, you know, if you are thrilled that your child left for college and you have your passport in your hand and you're like changing
Let's
the
go,
curtains
let's go,
out,
let's go.
that's normal. If you are grieving and you're sad and you're having trouble, you know what, that's normal
That's
too.
normal too. Right. It's
Right, and
all
the
who
more,
you are.
right, and the more we know about each other and the more we can learn from each other and share with each other, the less alone we are. And here's the deal, right?
Or guilty or shameful about it.
All of it, right? And so in
Yeah.
Gen X women and baby boomer women, we outnumber every other cohort that's currently alive on the planet. If we make noise, ladies, if we lock arm in arm and make noise together, we will be heard.
Mhm.
100% we will be heard. And so I have now, over the last couple of years, have managed to put together 54 women from around the globe who are industry thought leaders in their particular lane that are sharing their expertise and experience and tips and advice for all of the women in the community. And so it's all in one place. It's all in one repository. And that's what I set out to build.
That's Cool Life for you. KUELLIFE, coollife.com. Go check it out if you are a woman or know a woman, regardless of age, because we're all going to go through it at some point. So it's better you start learning about it now.
Yeah. Well, Alicia, to your point, half of our readers are below 44.
There you go. Because you got to know what's coming up. You know, this whole thing about keeping secrets. Stop it, because we need to know. We need to know. I need to know about when I was in childbirth, that age where I was looking to have children. I bought books about I bought books about not getting pregnant because I didn't want to get pregnant until I was ready to get pregnant. So what can I do with my body? We all have this thing about my body, my choice. Well, learn about your body, learn what it is you need to do and how to take care of it. And this is just the next chapter that you have to learn about your body and what it's going to do and how to take care of it as you go through, because we're seeing women, live longer, be healthier, be stronger later in life. So take care of where you are and what you have. I know you got to run. You have an appointment to get to. So
I
I
do.
just want to say thank you. Thank you. If you want to get in touch with Jack, go to info@coollife.com. Thank you so much for being on the show, Jack. I really appreciate you.
The pleasure was all mine, Alicia. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care. Wow, wow, wow. What an amazing interview. I mean, we started off talking about overcoming divorce and some of the mistakes and pitfalls that Jack fell into, not just through her divorce, but right after her divorce. She said she got into a really, really intense relationship too quickly and didn't really process her emotions through the divorce. So even if we might think everything's fine and we're good, take that time before you jump into a serious relationship after going through something as significant as a divorce. And then, we talked about body dysmorphia. And like she said, who hasn't experienced that in their life, right? I know I did, but it didn't go down the road into a destructive behavior. And I think that's the difference. While we might all have body dysmorphia, it doesn't have to be destructive all the time. And it's the same thing. Like some people might enjoy having a drink every now and then, but it doesn't go all, into destructive behavior. So having body dysmorphia doesn't mean that you are heading down the path to anorexia or bulimia, although it could happen if it goes unchecked. So recognize when you are not loving the body that you're in. Begin to recognize that. And Jack talked about why it is that she had issues and challenges with her body, because she developed way too young. And sometimes our young girls develop really young, and we need to start having conversations with them about their bodies and what the signals their bodies might be saying, but their emotions and their mind just aren't ready to catch up with, so they don't get themselves into a situation where men are taking advantage of them because they look a certain way. So please be mindful of that. And let's take care of our young women out there, our young girls. They're not even women, they're young girls. Let's take care of our young girls. And then finally, we talked about this amazing platform that she has called Cool Life. And let me put the info up again for you to check out. You can check out coollife.com, KUELLIFE.com, and it's curated content all about menopause, going through menopause. What are the symptoms? Go to that website if you are headed, if you're perimenopausal, headed that direction, or you're in the thick of it, or you're just curious about it. Go check out coollife.com, because women, we're all going to go through it. All right. We're all going to go through it. As long as we continue to live in this life, we will hit menopause at some point in our lives. So go check it out. And like Jack said, she was looking when she was going through it, and there was nothing out there. Now there's a lot of information out there. So let's age gracefully. Let's age confidently and get the information that we need to continue to love our bodies and love ourselves through the aging process. That's it for me today. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Please stay tuned. We have more shows coming up. On Mondays, we have our Unleash Your Audacious Confidence, which is Mondays at 5 p.m. Eastern on winwinwomen.tv. So check out Unleash Your Audacious Confidence. Also, you can check out our Small Business Saturday shout out. We have new shows coming up in April, which is right around the corner. So we have new shows coming up starting next week. So check that out. That's on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern time. But until then, we have, actually, no, it's not this Saturday. It's the following Saturday. This Saturday, I'll be in California. So for the SEMA Awards. So go ahead and check out our shows. Go to our YouTube channel. Again, youtube.com/c/Alicia Couri. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss when we go live with any of our content. Until next time, be bold, be brave, and every day do one thing to step out in audacious confidence and prove to yourself that you love your body and that you love yourself. Until next week, take care, and I will see you then. Mwah.